The concept of God's rest is another one of those ideas, one of those passages that have really tripped up interpreters over the years, and it can be very confusing. But one of the things to remember with God's rest is that it has an eternal aspect to it. And not just I'm saying future, but I'm saying there's a past aspect to it, a historical, if you will, a contemporary aspect to it, and a future one, as well as a theological one. First thing that the author of Hebrews points out about God's rest is that it is God's rest. It's not your rest, it's specifically God's rest, and he took a rest from creation on the final day of creation, seventh day, and he is still engaged even today in that rest. His creation was complete. It's good. So there's a theological aspect to it, historical, if you will. But then there's the contemporary aspect of it, which is your relationship, your lifestyle of faith, to rest in God. Remember, Jesus said, "My yoke is easy, my burden is light." There's also, let me retrace my steps just a little bit with the historical. There's also Israel's entrance into the land. That was one aspect of entering into God's rest. And that's what the author of Hebrews uses. He uses this illustration that Joshua led the people into the land and they entered into God's rest. However, again, it doesn't exhaust the idea. So theologically, historically, contemporary, and then future aspect of God's rest is that there is a messianic age that is coming. Jesus will return, and when he does, he will rule as king over the world, over the nations, from the throne of his father David. And we will, in the Messianic age, truly enter into God's rest. And further than that, beyond that, we have the eternity, the eternal state, when we will be resting in the presence of God. So it's a complex idea. Focusing on just one aspect of it is insufficient, but focusing on the totality of it gives us an idea of the grasp. When should we do so? We should enter into God's rest, the author of Hebrews says, today. Now, today is a shifting topic, because if you enter into God's rest today, what about tomorrow? Well, the interesting thing is, tomorrow, when it comes, that also is today. And today's today will be yesterday tomorrow. And the next day, tomorrow, you'll also want to enter into God's rest when it's today. So there's a timeless aspect of it where it's fluid and it's ever shifting, and you are to continually, from today to today to today, in a never-ending series of todays, into eternity itself, to live in God's rest.